Do you like Fleetwood Mac and epic space sci-fi goodness? That's the only reason I exist in life. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is written and directed by James Gunn. He also did the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and his style just feels so fresh and unique, and he does such a great job at handling all of these weird alien characters, and I love that. And just his use of color just makes these movies so much fun to look at. And Volume 2 picks up roughly 2 months later after the first movie, and the Guardians have picked up a job from the Sovereign, who are a bunch of cybernetic gold people led by Aisha. And things don't really go according to plan, and while being on the run, Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord, discovers who his father is. But whenever I see a sequel, people always ask, was it better than the first one? And to me, there's movies out there that they have such a high bar that the sequels will never even come close. Like Jurassic Park is one of those movies, for example. But Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is better in a few ways, but we'll get into some of those things that aren't as good. And I think the story of the first movie was a little bit more solid. The script kind of felt a little bit tighter. And if you look back at the story of that film, it was a pretty simple story. So I guess in that way, the first Guardians is a better movie. But if we're talking about pure entertainment value and just those moments where you're cracking up laughing or just cheering after a certain scene, I think Volume 2 really steps that up. And this sequel also brings in a few new and different things to the table. Groot is in baby form, his memory has been lost, and he's like 6 inches tall. And when I first saw that it was going to be baby Groot in this Guardians of the Galaxy sequel, I thought it was kind of just a marketing trick. They're just trying to sell more toys. But after seeing baby Groot in this movie, it completely works. He's so freaking cute, and the fact that they can make a 6-inch walking and talking tree work in a movie, that says something. James Gunn could probably make a character out of poop, actual shit, and it would probably work. But in all seriousness, he's just so good at handling characters, and having Chris Pratt, one of the most likable actors in the business, playing Star-Lord, and the 3-time WWE heavyweight champion Bautista as Drax, and Zoe Saldana as the green assassin Gamora, and a badass raccoon that takes no shit and wants to blow your frickin' head off in a talking tree. And all these weird and wacky characters in this movie work. They all have incredible chemistry, and even aside from the main story, each of these characters has their moment to shine, and you get to dig deeper into each of these characters. And obviously the majority of the story is dedicated to Peter Quill, but even a lot of these wacky side characters, they get those great moments to just really stand out. And the opening scene really heavily features Baby Groot, and it just hooks you. And from that point on, you're completely on board with Baby Groot. And if you're going to compare this movie to the previous Guardians of the Galaxy movie, this has that same ridiculous Fast and Quippy style comedy, but more of it. And to me, that was one of the best things about the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I think that's one of the reasons why I think those movies are so damn good. They're also really fun, but this movie has that same stuff, but more of it. But there were a few jokes that I was actually surprised that they got away with putting in this film, and I think that's just me thinking about the Disney stamp of approval before they can put this thing out in theaters. But Drax the Destroyer makes a penis joke, and I think he also mentioned the size of his dumps. And this movie also heavily features Star-Lord's father, Ego, played by Kurt Russell. This guy is the man. And when I heard he was cast to play Peter's dad, I was like, that is a perfect choice. I wanted to see that dynamic on screen with these guys. But as far as his character's backstory and motivations, I thought the movie did a pretty good job explaining what he was doing, setting everything up for his character, really making me believe in what he was actually doing. And all the characters are pretty much great in this film, and you can connect with them, but the only one I'm really having a hard time caring about is Nebula. She does get a little bit more fleshed out in this film, and there's that sister dynamic with her and Gamora, but I don't know, I think I still need a bit more. And the actress does kind of overact her part. She talks like this with her teeth closed all the time, and she's angry all the time. But my favorite character in Volume 2 is definitely Yondu, and I think a lot of people are going to be walking out of the theater loving Yondu in this movie. He's heavily featured in this, and he probably has the best character arc out of anyone in Volume 2. And this movie does such a great job at tying up those unanswered questions from the first film, and that just really makes this whole Guardians franchise that much more well-rounded, and I can still be invested and care about all of these characters. And this isn't a perfect movie. I did have a few issues with this film. The first half of the movie, it really struggles to find its footing with just telling the story, and at that halfway point, you start to realize what's actually going on. And the antagonists in this film, the Sovereign, the Gold People, they're just pretty much useless in this movie. There was a few times where I was just like, these guys are ridiculous. I was laughing my ass off at these characters, but they just really kind of just get in the way of the story, and they're just really throwaway characters. But overall, guys, Volume 2 was a fantastic time. It has those familiar moments from the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, but it's really heartfelt at times, and it really dives deep into the characters, which I loved. I just thought the story and a few of the characters could have been tightened up a bit. So with all that said, I'm going to give Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 an A-. Now guys, let me know what you thought of this movie down below, and what are some of your favorite movies in the MCU? Comment below. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to subscribe for future videos. I'm Rex Overdrive. I'll see you next time.